Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 72nd episode. My, 72 episodes of That Sewing Blab. We hope you all have had a good night so far and looking forward to having a better night with us here on That Sewing Blab. So for those of you who are new, our lovely host over here in the red is Dawn Pengali from Duelling Designs. My name is Myra from Simple Inspiration, and that lovely woman down there, we're going to get to in just a moment. So if you have any questions for us, please look down on the bottom towards the left of you. There's a section that says Ask a Question. If you have any comments or questions for us, just click that link, post your question or comment, and then click the link again to get back to the screens. So that's it. We're ready to have some fun and get started interviewing this lovely lady. So with that said, I'm going to pass it on over to Dawn.
Good evening, everyone. We're thrilled that you're here. Remember, if you're watching on Crowdcast, like Myra said, put the questions down below. And if you want to come on camera, if you're watching live on Crowdcast, just let us know in the comments when we ask, and we would absolutely love it. I'm sure Bianca would love it too. So getting to the nitty gritty of the night, we are thrilled to have on this evening Bianca Springer. Bianca Springer. I'm very sorry. Thanks, I made them. She is a terrific sewist, award-winning sewist. She is also a fabulous blogger. You have to see her lovely makes. She does sewing classes, and as well, she not only sews for others, but she's Myra knows I have problems saying this word, philanthropist. She sews for other people, which is lovely. Seeing people give back through the medium of sewing, I think, is absolutely amazing. She also sells fantastic stuff on Etsy. This is one very talented woman, and we are thrilled to have her on tonight. Thank you for coming on, Bianca. Sorry, I'm so bad with it.
I'll say it for you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
So we normally start off with a question because, I don't know, it's, again, your origin story, your superhero origin story. How and why did you start sewing?
Yes.
Okay, oh goodness. I grew up in a house with a sewist. My mom sewed. My great aunt was a seamstress at a department store, so she sewed all the time. But growing up, sewing was very utilitarian. Making school uniforms, making costumes for plays I was in, and drama groups and stuff. It wasn't sewing just for fun. It was about, you need this, let's make it. And so I dabbled a little when I was growing up. I watched my mom, and I would make a few things. And I think in 5th grade, I made an embroidered pillowcase, and then I did a batik technique that we have in the Bahamas. I'm from the Bahamas, and we have a batik technique called androsia. And I remember in 5th grade doing a hibiscus, and we dyed the fabric and removed the wax and everything. So I did a little dabbling, you know, it all was just part of life and what you needed to do. It wasn't until I had a very complicated pregnancy with my first child and became a surprise stay-at-home mom because the pregnancy was so difficult. I ended up quitting my job after I had her. And so I was at home with a newborn, a preemie, and I was trying to figure out what to do with my time. And I'm looking at all these cute things on Pinterest and in Mom Scoops. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's cute. It's probably worth it, but I could probably make it. So my origin story, I guess, began with a baby.
So does...
So
no, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, no. I started sewing things for her and then sewing stuff for myself. So just as a way to be creative, but also to save money and have unique, one-of-a-kind,
sounds like
cute things.
You were self-taught. Do you have any formal training in sewing? formal training?
I was taught by watching my great aunt and my mom. And my mom taught me some when I was a kid, but her method was, it was so innate to her that it was hard for her to explain to me what to do. And so I learned some stuff, but when I got back into it as an adult, I was in the States, she was in the Bahamas, so I took a class, and it was a terrible class. It was so awful because the instructor just said, bring a pattern, bring some fabric, and everybody sewed.
Wow.
And so we were kind of self-taught in the room, but it was just bad. It was, so, in that class, in that bad experience, I realized I had enough knowledge from growing up and watching my mom and everything she taught me that I could just dive right back in. So a little of both, but the way I was taught in that class was terrible, and I used it as a guide for how I now teach my students.
Let's see, where do you get, you have a lot of, well, I had this question for later, but I'm going to ask it now because it would help me set up for my next question. What would you call your style?
I think my style is retro redo. I like vintage patterns, and I like to put a modern twist on it. So just, retro redo, lost in the past. I don't know.
The reason why I asked that, because you have a lot of beautiful things out there that are totally, and you use this word, totally unique. I mean, when I first saw you on the scene, I remember way back, you were doing these T-shirts and the cutouts, and you did a lot of that, and I'd never seen it before.
The reverse applique.
And so, and you continue to do different things like that, which is amazing. Mm-hmm. Where do you get your inspiration from?
Everywhere. I am, my husband's a clinical psychologist, so I know I'm not on the spectrum for some disorder, but I honestly feel like there's some inspiration mania there, where if I see something that I like that's interesting, I dive in. So I get inspiration from other sewers, from Pinterest, from the materials. A lot of my repurposing and upcycling, I simply look at the thing and say, okay, what can this become? So that's in terms of materials, that's where I get my inspiration, but my drive and passion, I think a lot of that inspiration comes from my kids. Yes, my daughter feels like everyone, like I can make anything. And my son as well. They both feel like, oh, mama can make that, even if I can't. Oh, so awesome. They inspire me to.
Wow. Well,
that's
lovely.
Try.
Yeah, it is.
So
that actually,
yes, I see there was a concern about my audio.
Yes, that sounds better when you put the mic up. That did sound better.
Am I better? Is this?
It's cutting out ever so slightly. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Okay, I'll just hold it.
Well, now
I'm sorry, I'm moving around today.
Well, you said
I'm just going to
get inspiration from all over the place, and a lot from your children, which is really awesome. But how much time do you actually get to spend to devote to sewing? Because you hear a lot of people say time is the thing that keeps them from sewing. So how much time do you have to devote to sewing? Is that a problem for you?
I actually have a lot of time to sew. I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I teach sewing, and my children love to sew. So when I have time and I feel, so if I, and my husband is super supportive. and that makes a big difference. So I find that if I feel like I have to get something done, I try to include my kids. Or if I need to do handwork or something that I can step away from the machine with, I'd bring it to bed and watch a program my husband wants to watch, or I squeeze it in wherever I can.
Definitely. Okay, Dawn, do you want to get in there? Am I hogging up all of the?
Well, first and foremost, I have to say, if anyone hasn't been to our blog, and I know, I say things like this a lot, but really, we find some of the most talented people here.
Yeah.
So I have to say it. But yeah, you've got to see her blog, and the captain that's on there right now.
Yes.
Sweet.
Yes.
Sweet. I'm sorry. This is life right here.
I want.
OMG, or whatever the kids say, or whatever. This is amazing. I love how you place the stripes. I mean, caftans can be kind of, okay, they're nice, but this is next level, amazing. Drop the mic, all those things all put together with a big bow on it. This is amazing. You are so talented. Look at that, ladies. Look at that.
I love it. I think there's a close-up picture of the way she manipulated those stripes. Oh my gosh. It's just, look at that. The way she manipulated that. Oh, that's so gorgeous.
Oh, and even the back, like how, there's almost no words, but I'll keep trying because that's amazing. I've seen so many striped outfits because I love stripes. I will not lie. I got so many striped ribbons and elastics the other day, but look at this, ladies.
Okay. Bianca, I actually need to take that on vacation with me. That is lovely. Oh my gosh, that is so nice.
I think it's because you see lots of renditions.
I bet.
And
I think you see lots of renditions of similar things, a striped t-shirt, and a striped dress, and you see lots of them, but very, very rarely do you look at it and you're like, wow, reimagine the stripe on a dress, like it's kind of like, whoa. And I don't know, for me, that was that. I hadn't seen anything like it. I just think it's amazing and it looks gorgeous on you. But anyway, I had to get that out of my system.
Don't take it down. Don't take it down yet, because what's interesting about it, Dawn, is if you look at the picture that she shows where her back is to us, you actually see the way the stripe looks and how much she manipulated the stripes to make the front look like that. There's a picture of her there it is. There's a picture where you can see how the stripes actually go. So she actually had to take those apart to manipulate all of that. In the top part, the band, and the bottom in the front. That is fabulous. Bianca, you, as they said, as Marcy said here, you worked it. You definitely worked that.
That is gorgeous. But that wasn't my question. That was just, whoo.
Was it very hard, Bianca? Was
it
very hard?
Thank you.
I think she's got a little bit of feedback.
I'm sorry. It was ridiculously easy.
You sound.
Oh, are we having trouble?
Yes.
Yep, you sound good.
Can you hear me okay now? Is that any better? Can you hear me?
That's perfect. Yep, perfect. Yes.
How was that?
Yes.
Is that good?
Okay.
Okay. With that dress, once I decided that I wanted to play with the stripes, it was just a matter of cutting. It was very easy, and it was self-evident to me. I laid the fabric out and thought, okay, this is what's going to happen. And the only point of concern I had was with the midriff band, whether I wanted to make it black, keep it the solid black, or do the narrow strips from the bottom in a horizontal. Yes. So I took pictures with my camera. I laid both options out, and once I stepped away
Now,
and looked
you know,
at
when
the
I
camera,
looked at
I'm like,
this
okay,
at
yep,
first,
it's
I
the
thought it
black.
was navy and white until you mentioned that in your post that it was black.
Yes, I gave the camera the little miss. And so she, you know, so the color is a little off, but I was giving her an opportunity to play photographer. So I figured her self-esteem and my encouraging
Well,
her
I'm
was
surprised
worth
here. I didn't know
worth
this,
it.
but Linda Faye Lewis, our lovely woman that we always cherish on this show, she actually says that she voted for you in Threads magazine. This dress was actually in the spring challenge. Oh, okay.
Not this one, the bias tape dress. If you look on the right of the blog, it says, yes, that dress. Thank you, Linda. I appreciate your vote.
That is too cute. That is too cute. Oh my gosh.
Yes, that
and your
one.
poses, you have such a lovely smile. You just have an absolutely infectious smile. It's just so pretty. Wow. Okay. Okay, I guess now that we've got all excited, we can get back to the interview. Okay, let's see. What are some of your go-to fabric resources? Because you have lots of time to sew, so we know there's a big fabric stash somewhere, right?
Yes, I have a really big fabric stash, mainly because I love thrifting fabric, and I also buy a lot of estate sale fabrics. I have a friend who owns an estate sale company, and when there are sewing items at estate, she'll give me a call. I get first pass sometimes, and then I get total cleanup. So I like the idea of giving life to someone else's stash if they've passed on, because we buy fabrics with a plan, and life happens or death happens, and so I have a romantic notion that, you know, I can do something with someone's fabric and, you know, help their vision come to fruition, or I'm just justifying my hoarding. Either way.
I like that. I'll use that. Oh, too funny.
Either way,
oh my goodness. I'll have to use that.
Yes. But when I do buy fabric, when I buy fabric, I like Fabric Mart. The fabric in that striped dress came from them. I like the speed in which they deliver. I like the quality of the fabric. The price is always good. So I when I buy, it's from them. I participate in contests. So a lot of times the prize includes fabric store certificates. And invariably, I always love what I get from Fabric Mart, even if I have certificates from other companies. I've tried a few. I won't name them because that wouldn't be nice. But I come back to Fabric Mart. The other element of Fabric Mart that I like is their bundle bags and boxes. I like to gamble, and so I have no problem, buying a bundle and just feeling like Christmas when I open this bag and not know what's in it.
Okay.
I think, a lot of people when they come on the show, they sew fabulous things, but you've kind of got a few more layers, like an onion. There's a few more if you pull back. You've designed your own fabric. You do stencils for people. You do cross-stitch patterns. You do instant download instructions for your own mannequin. A lot of these are found on Etsy and I believe Craftsy. And I can show everyone a picture of some of them. And quite frankly,
Yes.
adorable. I think I would like to know, like, if anyone else out there is thinking that they have an idea, or I've got this cool idea for a fabric or what, like, how could you explain how you got from that idea to putting it out there, so that if they have a fabulous idea, they can be inspired by how fabulously you did.
Yeah.
For the dress form, I'll start with that.
Any of it.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, the Etsy stuff, the fabric stuff. Okay. My daughter was on the playground at the park, and someone told her her hair was weird when it was just in these cute little pigtail curls.
Wow.
And she was stunned, and her feelings were hurt because, I mean, we love our hair. She loves her hair. And she was hurt because this person was her friend. And she, she's such a generous and sweet spirit that she couldn't understand why someone would deliberately be mean to her. So we did some work at home. We talked about it, read some books, and I just said, you know what? Let's do something about this. So I designed her Afro Puff Diva fabric, and yes, so she, she was my inspiration for that, and that is a combination of her avatar and mine. And that the process of making it was a matter of trial and error. I knew I wanted to represent us in a way on fabric, but I am creative, but not an artist. So I started with rubber stamps. I carved some stamps, and then used that to apply the image. And I just tried and tested various methods, and ultimately the images that I settled on ended up being cut from a stencil, and I airbrushed the fabric. So I guess the question is, how do you get from your idea to your execution? Yeah. Begin with what you have. Start in your skill set. I'm not good at Illustrator. I'm not good on, in other graphic design areas. And the learning curve for that is steep, and I am impatient. So I just figured out, well, what are you good at, and how can you execute your idea? So I just stayed in my wheelhouse, I guess.
Great advice, and just amazing, because you understand yourself enough to know what your strengths are, and to go from it. And because it came from something you were passionate about, of course it was going to be fabulous when it's finished. Whether you did it with stencils, spoon flower, whatever, it was going to be amazing no matter what you did. I think it's amazing. That I love it even more now that I know the story behind it.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes. And so I made it for her. To just remind her, hey, you're awesome and I love you, and she loves her hair. But also I just wanted, I had to think about that kid. It's like, why does this kid think this is weird? Is it, do they not have friends with hair like this? Do they think this is okay? So part of my motivation also was to just make it available to people. So you can stitch up a cute little Afro diva, so your kid's not the kid saying, hey, her hair is weird, Yeah,
it's just
so we've enjoyed playing with it and stitching it up and making stuff with it. It's just
heartwarming. But that I was going to ask you, but that might be your favorite project. I was going to ask, what would be your favorite all-time project? Would that be it?
It is top. It is one of them. I really enjoy making it. I think one of the skirt from the make the fabric your own, that started out as a shower curtain. I think if you look along my ticker, there may be a little pattern review I won the Make the Fabric Your Own contest. And if you click on that, I really enjoyed that because I just went creatively crazy. It's a skirt that started out as a black and white shower curtain, and I added embroidery designs, reverse applique, couching. I did all kinds of stuff to it, and yes, and it took me weeks to do, and so
wow, that's gorgeous.
I really enjoyed that because I am generally a fast sewer. Thank you. I go from, concept to completion very quickly. And I work really fast. But on that, I really sat down and took some time to
that's really, really pretty.
To complete it. So yeah, so I really enjoyed that. Thank you. So all the color you see and all the texture you see is added. The only original thing there is the black and white.
Here we go. We need to see that again.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Oh wow. I think yeah, nowadays, I mean, you can buy a t-shirt for probably $2 for all I know at any place. But yeah, when you see things like that, that have so much thought and color and are so vibrant, that's a showstopper. You walk down the street, people aren't going to think, oh, you got that at Walmart. They're going to be like, wow. And yeah, as I get older, I'm kind of liking that stuff more and more. I'm like, if I'm going outside, I want something. Wah, and yeah, that is it. You did a fantastic job.
And you probably get a lot of times when you're out and about, you probably get a lot of questions about your because your clothing is so unique. I'm sure you get a lot of people who will come up to you who say, "Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. Where did you find something like that?"
Yes, that's how my blog got its name. I was everywhere I went with my daughter, we would be wearing mommy and me outfits, or she'd be in something nice, I'd be in something, and people would compliment us, and I would say, "Oh, thanks, I made them," and so it started there. And then people wanted me to teach them, and I'm like, okay, I made it. So can you?
Well, with that said, you have a lot of things that you work on that I'm sure you just love because they're actually labors of love for you. Do you have anything that you just said, "Oh my gosh, what was I thinking"?
Yeah. Oh yes, there's a pair of I love the 70s. I love retro. And there's a pair of jeans, ultra wide leg, simplicity. I never blogged about it. I put it on Instagram as I was going along, foolishly, because I thought, oh, these are going to look good. I need to chronicle this. And it was a disaster. The fit was wrong. Okay, I don't want any of my students to know this, but I don't make muslins. With my fabric stash, I have a lot of room for error, so I just make stuff. So with these jeans, I didn't make a muslin. That was it, and it had several panels, and then this massive flare. But in order to get to any point where I could fit it, you have to do all this top stitching. And so it was horrendous. The fit, it was so big. It was terrible. And I had done some funky embroidery on the pockets, and so yeah, it was terrible. And luckily my Instagram friends were like, okay, yeah, you can't even fix this, because I'm a fixer. I want to tweak it, and I want to make it, I want to make it good. And it just, I think Carolyn from the Sewing Fanatic, she was like, you just got to let this one go. And I thank her for that advice, because I would still be trying to make those jeans work.
That's true.
And
That's
it's just,
absolutely
sometimes it's
true.
just not worth the
And
time.
thanks to you, Carolyn, for being honest with her and telling her that.
As we mentioned in the introduction, you're also,
Yes.
you sew for yourself, and you sew fabulous garments for yourself. You won lots of awards on patternreview.com and others, but you also sew for others. In the past, you've sewn for Starfish for Kenya and Support Hope for Africa. I think, one, it's amazing, but two,
Yes.
if somebody out there would like to sew outside of what they wear, do you have any suggestions for them? I'd love to hear first about the experience, and then if you have any suggestions for people to reach out, if they're if maybe they have 200 outfits they've already sewn and they'd like to look outside. So I'd love to hear that too.
Yes, I think we really, both of those sewing groups were a part of my church. So I invited whoever wanted to participate at my church, and even in my sewing community, of any of my past students or any of my friends. Anyone who wanted to sew was invited to come and make. The first year we did pants, shorts, and the second year we did stuffed animals. And it was really good for us all to get together to sew in a group, for one thing, just that community and conversation, and just relaxed atmosphere of getting together with other creative people was good. It was good for the non-sewers, because it was also a lesson. I was teaching them as they go if they didn't know what they were doing. So it was good for that. Everyone, it was really, we got donated fabrics in, so people felt like even if they couldn't sew, they were comfortable donating our fabric and our notions, whatever we needed. We got a lot of donations for that. So it was just really good. The difficulty with sewing for an international organization is getting the materials to them. And so for anyone wanting to start that type of charitable sewing, I would say be certain of your destination and how those materials are going to get to the recipient. Ask for what they want. Don't just start sewing stuff that you think is relevant, because modesty standards are different in other cultures and countries, and the top you think is great on your daughter would not be acceptable in another culture. The shorts need to be a certain length. You have to think about how the item's going to be cared for. How often do they have access to water? You don't want to make minky stuffed animals and send it to a place where things can't be washed, or it's impractical. So you have to think about the recipient and what their needs are, how the materials are going to get to them. With the Uganda sewing, we made the stuffed animals and we left them unstuffed. And when they got to Uganda, the recipients used whatever materials they had available to stuff them. And one of the leaders helped stitch the holes up. So we left an opening for the stuffed animals to be stuffed, and then someone taught them how to close them. So do the research, I think, is key. Just make sure your work's not in vain. You can't just say, oh, I made all these skirts and I want to send them to Haiti. Well, are they going to be useful in Haiti? Ask someone who's working in Haiti what's useful. How can you help? I think that's the basic question. How can I help?
Wow.
And go from there.
Okay, let's see. Before I get to that question, Dawn, Bianca, do you have any aspect at all of sewing that you find absolutely challenging to yourself?
Yes.
Here it comes.
Yes. Okay, buttonholes are from the devil. Okay?
Oh, goodness.
They just are. no matter how well prepared I am, no matter how well stabilized, no matter how new the machine, buttonholes are from the devil. And I just hate them. I hate them. I will, if I have to make them, I will. But I have to get prayed up. I really do. I need to. It is just not easy, because just recently on the gingham dress I'm wearing in the picture, got two buttonholes in, did a test before, and the third one was all crazy wonky, so I had to unpick it. And I'm thinking, yeah, and everyone's like, do a test. If I didn't do the test, I would have had 3 buttons ready to go. So yeah, that so buttonholes are, my kryptonite.
Drinking out of a Wonder Woman mug and talking about kryptonite.
Yes, because you need inspiration. Some reminders. So buttonholes are something that are just challenging for me to do. I don't enjoy cutting patterns out, and cutting fabric. Cutting fabric is getting easier, less miserable for me because I have a large cutting table, so it's not difficult, and I use a rotary cutter. But cutting patterns is something I don't enjoy, and I think that's part of why I love retro patterns so much. Someone's already done the work. Buttonholes and cutting. But cutting, it's a necessary evil, so I can cope with that. But buttonholes, I will pass on a beautiful thing if it has more than 4 buttonholes.
Okay, and that leads me to my next question. Printed or PDF? Next question. Mm-hmm. Printed.
Ah.
Printed. Yes. And I say that mainly because I have such a large pattern stash as well, that I really need to be in love with the pattern, or I need to be testing it for a dear friend if I'm going to do a PDF. I will, but it's not my go-to. Lisa from Pattern and Branch posted a top last week on her site. She does recommendations. I can't remember who the maker of the pattern is, but it's called the Hannah top. And I clicked on it and I stared. Yeah, it has an overlapping back, and it is just gorgeous. And I'm looking at it thinking, but it's a PDF. I may decide to go that way, but I think largely because I have such a large pattern stash that in paper, that it takes me a really awesome PDF in order to download, tape together, trace, and all that stuff. But it's not my go-to at all.
Gorgeous textiles. Do you design a lot of your clothes yourselves without patterns? Do you dabble in draping and that sort of thing, pattern making?
I don't. My visual spatial orientation is kind of wonky. I will tweak stuff, but to start from scratch.
Well, like you said, we all have to stay in our lanes when we're, so nowhere.
And when you tweak it and put your own style on it, it does actually really change the pattern, like the striped dress, for example. Yes. We've seen a million caftans. So, yeah, I mean, there's something to be said for knowing just how to tweak it and how to use the fabric. You're fabulous. We also have some questions, unless you have any other questions, Myra?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Let's see. Well, first one isn't a question, but it's a comment. It's just lovely. It's from Julie Starr. She says she was looking forward to this, Bianca. Must be a fan of yours. Then
Yes.
the next one is
Julie
from Linda Faye
She's
Lewis
awesome.
from Faye's Sewing Adventures. We just love Faye.
Yes.
She wants to know, and it leads into that question we were discussing about vintage patterns earlier. Where do you find your vintage patterns?
Again, from estate sales, and also Craigslist. I set up a sewing alert. So when you do a Craigslist search, I think on the search bar to the right, once you populate, it says save search or set up alert. So every time someone posts vintage sewing patterns or sewing patterns or vintage or whatever keywords I plug in, I get an email. So I get, a first, as soon as they come up, I can look through them and contact the seller. Also the estate sales, like I said, estate sales are rarer to find, but when you do, if like would be in my situation, when you find some, there's a lot. Yes, and I also thrift. Sometimes you'll come across a thrift store with, a lot of fun and funky vintage patterns. You may not have all the pieces, but you can tweak those or, download the instructions from somewhere.
I never would have thought of that. You said 2 times thrifting for fabric and for patterns. I never thought of that.
Oh. Yes.
Oh.
And I set up an alert for fabric as well. But you just have to be careful because, on a given day, like today, I got like 4 or 5 alerts for sergers and embroidery machines. So you just have to know something will always come along. So set your budget beforehand because initially you might want to respond to everything. So if you set your budget, know what you're willing to pay and what you want and things you need to pass on. If you keep that in mind, you'll be okay.
We also have another question from Faye. She wants to know, can you tell us about your teaching experience? How did you get started teaching sewing? And I noticed that on your actual webpage, there is a tab that says sewing lessons as well. So it's a fantastic question. Thank you, Faye.
Yes. I got started sewing again early on, teaching with, I was in a mom's group and I was new to the mom's group. My personality is introverted. So I just, I'm sitting in a corner and just feeling like, okay, I don't know what to talk to these ladies about. And someone remarked on what I was wearing and I mentioned that I made it. And she casually said, I want to learn to sew. And I told her, I said, I can teach you. And I don't think she believed me because, again, I was new to this group. But, in her mind, she's like, what? You're going to teach me? And so I told her, and again, she, nothing came of it. The next time we had a mom's meeting, she again said that she wanted to sew. And a few other moms overheard her. And I said, I can teach you. And I stood up and said, anyone in this room who wants to learn how to sew, I will teach you. And so I had 5 moms at my 4-person kitchen table. And our kids would play in the living room and we would sew together. And and so slowly that turned into them sewing and getting excited. And I think one of them said, you need to do this. You love it, you teach it well, so you really need to do it. So her encouragement helped. And part of it too is I got a lot of people asking me to make things for them. but without recognizing the
I hear
time
that a lot.
or the cost
Yeah.
to do it. And yes, and I said, you know what, I am happy to make this for you, but I'd rather
Yes.
teach you. It's the give a man a fish concept, and I was happy to teach them, and mainly because I'm like, yeah, I can either spend 2 hours making you this onesie, or I could be spending my 2 hours making something fabulous. So my preference was to teach,
Yes.
so people can then learn and do their own thing. Yeah, so I do private lessons now. The page you showed on from my blog had references to the group lessons that I do, but it's difficult to get many people scheduled. So I've just gone back to an individual private lesson module. I'm working with an organization now. It's still in the works to do some larger group lessons in the community.
Well,
So
we have a
hopefully we'll
question
see what
there
comes of
too.
that.
It looks like Linda Faye Lewis was asking.
We have a question there too.
Where did you set your
Linda
alerts for
Lewis was
Craigslist
asking.
again?
I think if you type in vintage patterns or whatever your search criteria is in the search bar, I think to the right of it, it says save alert or somewhere on that search area. And then you click on it, and then it takes you to another page that asks you if you want to confirm it, I think. I will double check that and do a little, watch my blog. I'll do a blog post, a quick little, hey, how to set up an alert on Craigslist for
I
Austin
didn't know
fabric.
that. And that's
So I'll
another
do
thing I
that.
didn't know, that you could buy fabric on Craigslist. Wow. You truly are fabulous, Miss Bianca.
Yes,
Wow.
thank you for doing that.
Okay, let's.
Thank you.
Now, I haven't asked this question, and it was one that we had on our list a while ago. And if you don't have an answer for it, I understand that. But I'm just curious, and it's something that I'm probably going to ask our guests in the future. And that is, if when people come to your blog, like I know what I get out of it when I go there and I look at all of these creative things that you post. But is there anything that you yourself would like people to take away when they read your blog? Is there anything that you would like to see them take away from your blog?
I want people to look at my blog and see that what I do isn't overly complex, though it looks complex. Like the kaftan, it was simply choice of fabric and the positioning of it that made that awesome. With my twister raincoat, I want people to look at disposable items and have a new appreciation for them. And a lot of my reverse applique stuff is the fabric is from sheets. So I think I want people to know that, hey, it doesn't have to be extravagant to look extravagant. It doesn't have to be complex to look complex. A lot of the things I've made on my blog, I whip up in 2 to 3 hours. They're not, they're not complex. I like bold fabrics and simple silhouettes. So
I was gonna say, just well put. I mean, that's brilliant.
I'm sorry?
Just the way you said that. A lot of people spend a lot of time trying to, how do you describe your style and all this. That was like nail on the head right there.
Yeah, I agree. And I love what you have on right now. What little I can see of that. Did you make that too? I love the colors and the print. That is.
Thank you. This is I have not blogged this one. This is on my Instagram. Part of my Mother's Day family ensemble. So I didn't blog it because Blogging's hard and
We
takes a lot of work, and I was celebrating Mother's Day.
It is truly gorgeous. I actually love the colors in that. It's really pretty.
And how you place the print.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Oh, the placement. Yes. See again.
Yes.
The key is just making sure that's not on your boob. You know,
That's so true.
You know, it's not magic.
Oh goodness.
You know. So yeah. So I have a question, I guess, as well for you guys, or just a hesitation as I blog. Since I've been on Instagram, I hesitate to blog about out of print patterns. I feel bad, you know, when I make something and I can't say go buy it there. So my dilemma is always, okay, like the gingham dress that, you know, we see on my card, that I didn't blog about that because it's an out of print pattern. I have a lot of things I do on Instagram that I don't blog about because I feel bad. And so I'm always in a dilemma. And the only reason I did the caftan actually was because I was coming on this, and I'm like, I need something a little more current.
And you did it.
My last post was a couple days old.
I don't know what Myra's opinion on that is, but I know a lot of, like, I have some patterns that have just been sitting there for a while. And let's say I saw you in that caftan pattern, and I hadn't got to the caftan pattern. It's in there. It might be out of print, and I was like, oh, I'll get to it. My goodness, I would be getting that thing out now. I would be cutting it out.
Yeah.
So, and I know you can still get some of them on eBay, Craigslist, whatever. And some people make their own patterns. So I guess my feeling would be, and I don't know if this is right, and the majority of sewers would go with it, but I'd be like, just put that out there. Like what you're wearing, the colors, print, the style, from what I can see, is gorgeous.
Yes.
So I know it's a lot of, I know how much work it is to do a blog post. But I mean, if nothing else, put it on Instagram because it's too gorgeous. I mean, yes, it's not wasted because you're going out there every day wearing it. But I mean, it's too gorgeous to waste. That's my opinion. What do you think, Myra?
Well, I agree with you on that, and I want to take it a little further. And I'm reading the comments here too, and the comments are actually voicing what I'm thinking. My suggestion or my opinion is there are a lot of people, me included, who have patterns that, because we have huge stashes of patterns that we see something that's the greatest and newest, we just go out and buy. I can tell you I have hundreds of patterns that I've never touched. And the problem is, by the time I do get around and go, oh my gosh, this is amazing. How come I didn't make this? It's out of print. But there are people that are out there that still want you to post those out of print. You just tell them they're out of print, because what they'll do is go and recreate it based on some patterns that they have that look similar to it. So, you know, you're still helping them out by telling them it's out of print. And if you know of something, because a lot of these pattern companies, they bring, and I looked at something today in the fabric store in the pattern books. I looked at it and it was an exact replica of a pattern that I had that wasn't that same pattern, not even the same pattern company, but the exact same style. So 9 times out of 10, if it's out of print, still post it, because there are people like myself who are going to recreate it if we like it, or just people who are going to find another pattern that's close to it. So I would, my opinion would post it because it's beautiful. And a lot of people, I do. If I have something that's out of print, I just tell people it's out of print. And if I know of a pattern that's very close to it, I'll suggest that pattern.
And it looks like Denise, oh, sorry. We have a little bit of a repeat going on, so sorry about that. I was just going to say, it looks like Denise, Marcy, and as well as Elizabeth all agree wholeheartedly. Because you're inspiring.
Yes.
Like, we might not use the exact pattern, but you inspire us.
Yes.
So please keep doing that.
Yes. Very much.
And on that note, Myra, unless you have any other questions?
Well, no, I don't have any other questions, but we got maybe a minute that we can get to maybe a couple of little things that we wanted to address. But Bianca, I have to tell you, you're a fabulous woman, and I am so happy that you blessed us with your presence here. Good.
Thank you. I appreciate being here, and this was fun.
Sorry, I was going to say, I didn't realize it, but we actually have another question from Denise. So I don't want to miss Denise out because she's been lovely in the comments tonight, chatting it up, and we appreciate that she's here. So we have to ask her questions. So she asked, you seem to sew so quickly. How many projects do you get done in a week?
Oh, what's today? Tuesday? I could do about 2 projects a week, depending on what it is. I vacillate. I started cutting something today, and I plan to be done with it in 2 days. So it depends. My kids went back to school, so I could conceivably have something made every day now, because now I have daytime. So I do sew fast, but like I said, I also make things look more difficult than they are. So it looks like I put more work into it than I really do. But yeah, that's not to say it's not bad, but you guys know that. So yeah, I could do, if I have a plan, I can do 2 to 3 things a week. But I'm also a homebody, so I'm really just trying to be more conscientious about how I'm sewing and what I'm making, because I have some really, really well-dressed hangers. Because I'm not going anywhere, So yeah, so I could be really fast, but I'm just trying to be more intentional and trying to make more creative things that require more time and embellishment.
That's something, balancing it all, being a mom and everything. Yes, I agree.
And we often talk about it. There's only so much room in your closet. When you're a sewing blogger,
yes,
you end up having to give stuff away if you sew too much. So yeah, I love how you said that, with more intention. Yeah. It's fabulous.
Yes.
But that was our last question.
Yes.
Thanks again, Denise. And yes, so now we're getting into the part of the evening before we say goodbye to the fabulous guest we had on this evening. We're getting to the quick part of the evening where we talk about some of the community news. And one of the things we've been discussing lately is the So You Think You Can Sew competition that the amazing Myra Rentmeester and I are putting on during That Sewing Blab. And we are really excited. Really excited. We heard that the first kind of surprise box is on the way to Myra and I, because the first month in September, Myra and I are doing the first challenge. And Myra has really, she's, what do they say, made the first shot. She's made the first challenge. She's made some great videos challenging me. So I've got to start to bring it. But we're just doing an example so everyone can see that it can be kind of a competition, but it can be a lot of fun, and it's not cutthroat or anything. So Myra and I are going to get a package from a certain special someone, and I'm very excited to share who that is, possibly next show even. And we're going to open it live on air in September, and then we're going to have to make something with that. And then even better than that, that was just the example round, right, Myra?
Yes.
Is the first round where we're going to have contestants, and a second round we're going to have more contestants, and then the finals. And we've already got, I have to tell you, one the loveliest, most creative contestant videos, and we cannot wait to share it with you. Yes. But yeah, the person who'd made it is in the room, but we're trying to keep it on lockdown. But it is so cute. So cute. I'll just tell you this, it has to do with a lion.
And adorable. Very adorable.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes. So if you are interested in being a contestant, please just message Myra and I, and we can fill you in on the details. But we would absolutely love it. If you're up for a challenge and it's just all in fun, although there is prizes, please, please, please just contact us. We would love to hear from you. So yes, we do have that coming up. And I think that's about
Yes.
it. Myra, do you have any other community news for this week?
No, we still have the Home Decor Challenge going on over on So Much Talent Facebook group. And I think Alethea may, if we're lucky, come on and tell us how that's going, maybe in a future, one of our future shows. So before the end of the month, because I think that ends the month. But other than that, nope. It's time for us to wrap up because we've kept Miss Bianca for quite some time and we're happy and we want to have her come back on again, maybe to discuss some of her next awards that she's going to be winning.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we really can't thank you enough for coming on tonight. It's been lovely, and learning more about you is just so much fun. I'm sure everyone in the audience thinks the same thing. So we can't wait to see what you make next, especially after that striped dress. Oh my God.
I know. Oh, wonderful. All right. Do you have anything else, Dawn? If not, we're going to wrap it up.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well, I should say who's on next week. Oh, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
It would be rude not to say who's on next week, wouldn't it? So I better check the calendar. We have Jossie or Jocelinda from Pink Chocolate Break. She does YouTube videos, and we're thrilled to have her come on. She's joining us at one of those weird time zone things. So we're very, very thankful. But we're just blessed to have so many amazing, amazing guests. And that would be it. So Myra, if you'd like to take us out.
Oh, excuse me. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us on That Sewing Blab. And we hope to see you all next Tuesday at 7:30. Good night, everyone.
Night.
Bye.